All right, so we are going to get started this Saturday with our Minding Her Black Business Saturday brunch with Black Women Worldwide. I'm so excited to be here today. This Saturday brunch is really something that just kind of lightens up my week. I enjoy this time in this space, just really kicking it wholeheartedly with other sisters who, are on the same journey of improvement and more empowerment. And so these Saturdays mean a lot to me. They take on a personality of their own. Some of them are high speed and upbeat, and then some of them are a little bit more sober where we have real authentic conversations. So I just want to welcome everybody to our Black Women Worldwide Saturday brunch. And just to give you guys some background information, we are a new organization, and in our infancy, we are just kind of taking everything by storm. We are doing work that we did not realize we would be doing, and it's growing so fast that we don't even know how to experience it. So we are currently leaving our footprint in over 108 cities in the United States of America and abroad. We are currently in spaces in Delaware, which is one of our new cities. Just this week, we came into 4 different cities in the United States. So we have Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, of course, Michigan, woo,
Woo-hoo.
Missouri, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. We are globally, not only in the United States, but also Canada, Nigeria, where we have 2 amazing partnerships that we are growing and working on every day, the UAE, Brazil, South Africa, the UK, Barbados, and Ghana. So, ladies, we are really
Ooh.
making strides, and we are so excited about the membership, and we are just planning to grow and expand in so many more ways. So, this is the very, very exciting part of our Saturday, and this is where we highlight a sister in business and in profession, and we give her an opportunity to tell her story and to just give us an idea of who she is and why she does the things we do. So I'm excited to introduce to you this Saturday, and knowing her name, we have Miss Terese Teasley, AKA also known as Coach Teresa. So Teresa, welcome to Black Women Worldwide's Minding Her Black Business. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me today.
Good. So, Teresa, I'm going to go ahead and read your bio, and I like to read the bios because I want to make sure that I cover all of your information. So, I'm going
Okay.
to go ahead and read it word for word, if that's all right with you.
That's fine
Okay.
with me.
So, Miss Teresa Teasley, aka also known as Coach Teresa Teasley, is a proud resident of Pontiac, Michigan. Growing up in the city of Pontiac, she faced many trials and tribulations. Her faith is how she survived them all. When she was 4 years old, her innocence was taken and she lost her voice, and with it, the opportunity to live carefree, courageous, and love without limits. The breach of trust had been broken by someone her parents trusted to protect her. For many years, she had to fight to protect herself and never let anyone know her truth. After many years of suffering in silence, Teresa became driven by her purpose and went on a spiritual journey of recovery to heal from her past. She decided to reclaim her life and became an advocate by fighting for the voiceless in the city of Pontiac. Teresa is the founding director of Pontiac Communion Alliance and CEO of Driven by Purpose. She is a dedicated community organizer, certified life coach, inspirational speaker, and online web series TV host. She's also a healthcare and community worker with a strong commitment to serving disadvantaged youth and adults, the homeless, and those in special needs in the population. She is skilled at building community support, key coalitions, and strategic interagency partnerships. Looking to utilize client services and community agreement skills, she provides individuals with programs, services, and opportunities to live healthier, successful lives without any barriers. Teresa specializes in community organizing, leadership development, team building, self-discovery, and inner healing. Teresa received her Bachelor's of Science in Psychology from Grand Canyon University. She also has a certification as a life coach and nonprofit management. Teresa received the Pontiac Community Service Award in 2017 and the Sin Foundation Millennial Award in 2018. She believes that there is a greatness inside of everyone and believes that healing the matters of the heart through inspiration can save one person at a time. So, Teresa, we are honored to speak to you this afternoon.
Thank you,
Tell us
Erica.
about yourself, sis. What, what,
So,
what, what do you want us to know? Tell us the story. How did you begin? What put you on the path to realizing that there were things inside of you that needed to be healed?
so for me, myself, like when I was 25, so that was in 2005, I had hit rock bottom. I had had enough. And so the thing was, I was living this life where I thought I was happy, but I was miserable. I was like depressed because I fell into depression at 25. I wanted to commit suicide, but I had to go on a journey. I was like, God, you got to show me who you are, because like I was holding all this stuff from the age of 4 years old, and I did not want anybody to know my truth. And so I will always try to inspire people, encourage people, but I was not living in my truth or walking in my truth, because like I said, it happened so early, but I put up walls of protection so would nobody else harm me. I became promiscuous. I started drinking. I started smoking, and I was partying left to right when I was 17, all the way up to I was 30 years old. So, make the story short, it's just like this. I was headed for destruction, and I thought my life was good, but I was suffering silently. And I was like, God, you got to show me who you are. So I went on this journey, the spiritual journey, where I cried out to God. And I was like, I know I can't go to heaven based on my mama's religion, based on my father's
Mm-hmm.
religion. And I was like, you know what? They got it right. They doing what they need to do. And so I saw a lot of things in my home. And I was like, you know what? I know life has to be better. So when I went on that spiritual journey, I said, God, I need to know who you are, because I was going to church faithfully. I
Yeah.
was drinking faithfully. I was standing at the door faithfully because I was an usher. I was singing
Mm-hmm.
in the choir. And I was like, you know what? This ain't how life is supposed to be. And I know it. And so God dealt with me. So from 2005 all the way to 2013, I was battling spiritually. I was like, it has to be more to life than this. So when he took me on the journey, I had got sick in 2010. I couldn't hold down water. When I tell you it was like stress. It was just, I was an emotional eater. My weight would go up, down, up, down, up, down. And I was like, you know what? This is not enough. I mean, this is not good enough. This is
Yeah.
not healthy. None of that. So he started to deal with me. He started to purge some things from me. And he took me, because I left the church about 2009. I left the church. And so when I end up going on a journey with him, it was like this. He dealt with me 2010 because I had got sick. Like I was saying, I got sick. And then when I tell you, he started pulling back some layers, and I felt this
Mm-hmm.
spiritually. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what is happening? Because I had
Mm-hmm.
never experienced this. Even though I cried out in 2005, he started pulling back layers, started getting rid of all of the hurt. And I started feeling lighter. Like I was carrying all that baggage, but I started feeling lighter. Things was just falling off. And it was like I was receiving blessings that I didn't even think I deserved. I wasn't even pretty enough for. But God was like, you are beautiful. You are the apple of my eye. I created you in my image. So after he did all of that, 2010, it's like I ended up going to church, or I had went to this one particular church because he sent me, like 2012, he sent me there. And I knew it was for purpose, because I ended up getting rebaptized.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
was, and it was like 2013, I got filled with the gift of the Holy Ghost. So
Come
it
on
was just
now.
like, when I tell you, when you seek God, you find him. And it was like he still began to deal with me differently, because sometimes you be looking at certain things. Like if you go to church, you look at certain things and you be like, that ain't real. Why is that happening? But when I say it happened to me, and I can only tell of his goodness, I can tell what he's done for me. So this is
Yeah.
my personal experience. So when from this moment, from 2013, that's when I began to walk in the fullness of who I was destined to be. I didn't know my life was going to play out the way that it did, but it had to happen because here I am, 2020. I am 40 years old. God showed me at 38, you going to start this business in 2017. He showed me, like, you going to start the business. You have to start this business because you're going to have to help heal women, girls, and individuals that are broken, that are still walking in darkness and don't realize their fullest potential. But you went through all of that so you can help minister to somebody, so you can take your words, because you lost your voice at 4, but now here it is, 2018. Can I tell you, when I had my first women's empowerment, it was September 8th, 2018. I lost my father 2018, a day before my birthday, September 7th. And I had this women's empowerment the next day after losing my father. I turned 38. When I tell you, so many chains had been broken.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because I'm emotional, because of the simple fact I lost my father and I had this women's empowerment. And I knew right then in that moment that I had a calling on my life. Whatever the mantle that my father had, he passed it to me. Because I do the same thing, from the activism, from the helping the community, from helping people that don't have a voice or haven't discovered their voice. It's like I help them. I encourage them. I uplift them through the inspirations, through everything that I experienced. And so that's why I'm here today. And it's like this. I don't want to discredit anybody. I'm glad I went through everything I went through, even though here's 2020. I finally really stepped out on faith in June, where I decided to work full time for myself.
Come on.
So I can do his will.
Yes.
So that's where we are today.
Yes, Teresa. So I gotta dig in. I saw a few strong points here. And so for me, I think we're around the same age. I think we have a lot in common. So I want to talk a little bit about where you felt like you hit the rock bottom, around 25. And that's when you realize that this is not what my life is supposed to be. And you mentioned that you pulled away from the church. So what I'm starting to see now in conversation with a lot of women who are Christians, who are believers in the faith, who are blood washed and born again, many of them are starting to pull away from that traditional worship. And then I'm realizing, or I'm hearing, that that's where they're finding their true faith and their true foundation. So if you wouldn't mind, talk to us a little bit about how pulling away from that tradition put you in a space where God could really reach you.
I'm glad you asked me that question, because I want to go there. The simple fact is, when we used to traditions and beliefs, we fall short because of the simple fact they're telling us how to praise God, how to worship God, how to build a relationship with God. See, a lot of people have gotten away from the relationship. God is not in the belief. God is not in the tradition. God is not in what we think like the way people tell us he is. No, he's in the relationship. So what I mean by that, when you have an intimate moment with him, when you go to him just like you would like your family member or something like that, you get to know him. So I had to get to know him one-on-one. I had to block myself away from the world. I had to block myself away from people, from the noise, because those people, those things, those traditions, those religions, it'll cause you to think this is how you gonna find God. No, you got to spend those intimate moments. You have to be quiet. You have to go to worship, because it's not just a natural sense. See, we trying to do it in a natural sense. God is a spirit. He's not natural. So therefore you can't worship him naturally. You can't find him naturally. Because see, so many times people be looking for him with their natural eye, or like I said, through the traditions and the beliefs. See, it's like he's changing things. He's like awakening our spirit. So it's something on the inside. It's your spirit that's in the inside that needs to be fed. So you got to go to him and say, God, who are you? I want to spend moments with you where I get to know you. So whether that's you reading his word, whether that's you listening to whatever, get you to that place where you can be quiet. So that's what it is. So that's what I mean, how I pulled away and I went on the spiritual journey, because it's through just being outside, listening to nature. It's just
Yes.
being in your quiet secret place in your mind, because everything starts in your mind. Because if you will think on it and you believe it, guess what? You'll find what you're looking for. And that's true.
Yes, yes, I love it.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
So, in
welcome.
speaking of that, because I totally agree with that, it's that authentic relationship. I think a lot of people, and specifically speaking of women,
Mhm.
I've even seen in my time in the church where it was kind of like we were mimicking behaviors, right? So we
Yeah.
had really kind of defined what success looked like. We defined what healthy looked like. We defined what a good relationship looked like. And then we all were just kind of like little robots moving and shaking to try
Mhm.
to get to that same space. And so,
Yes.
in listening to what you're saying, it wasn't until you pulled away that you were able to begin to see your authentic relationship first with God and
Mhm.
then with yourself. So, talk a little bit more about not really seeing where you are right now. Like you knew in your spirit that you had something different. But tell me about in that authentic testimony, how you began to, once your father passed, once you got quiet, then God started to reveal to you what your life was going to look like. And tell me how you didn't see it before and how does it look different than what you thought it was going to look like?
Ooh, so what happened was, again, you go back to the beliefs, you go back to the labels. See, I didn't mention labels. So what I
Mm,
mean by labels, when people say, oh, you stupid, you dumb, you fat,
come
you
on, come
ugly,
on, come
put
on.
all of these different things on you, you start believing it. That's why I say that mind, it's the mindset. So if you've been taught one way all of your life, you start to believe. So no matter what somebody else come and tell you, because you got this strong belief, and you like say for example, your parents, your grandparents, they were taught to be quiet. They were
Yes,
taught to do things. This is how you're supposed to treat your spouse. This is how you're supposed to raise your kid. Nobody knows for sure exactly how to do it, but they write books and stuff like that. But
that's
when
right.
you get that relationship, when you seek God and you trust God and you know who you are, so hold on, because I'm getting ahead of myself. So like me,
Take
I
your
didn't know who
time.
I was blind because I had all this dark thoughts. So my mind was confused. Like I was thinking about, I wasn't pretty enough. I didn't have the long, pretty hair. My hair is nappy. Like I had to
Come on,
wear a
sis.
Jerry curl. So like all of these different things. So that's what I was used to. So I was believing, because like going to church, people would be like, oh, you can't do this. Or they would have a little cliques. They would just
Mm-hmm.
like be like, oh, God is here. And they just with you. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you got, no, that's not factual. That's what your belief is. So now I didn't know how beautiful I was. I didn't know this is what I was supposed to do, because all of this stuff that happened to me. But then when I went on that journey, and God, like I said, he pulled back layers, because I had built the walls when I was 4. And I started to believe certain things, what I was taught, what I had been through, all of the different labels, like even me, because I thought I was supposed to act like this. I was supposed to look like this. I was supposed to sound like this. And I didn't embrace me. So that
Yes,
was the difference. Because in the beginning, all of these beliefs, religions, all of these certain things were piled up on me. So now, even to this moment, to this day, to the second, like everybody not going to agree with what I say. Even
sure.
if it happened to them, they're not going to agree, but it's okay, because the ones that believe it and they hear it, they receive it, they're going to think about it and they're going to say, yes, that happened to me. That happened to me. And we are so connected. It's amazing. Like a lot of us been through the same thing. So now
Yes,
here, that I found this true relationship with God, like I'm still going through different changes. It's like I'm evolving, but I still haven't arrived, because I feel like every day I'm on this earth, I'm going to learn something new, something different. But it just feels good, because he like, you the apple of my eye. You are beautiful. And so I have to do the affirmations. I have to speak to myself. I have to believe in myself. I had to learn how
yes,
to love myself unconditional, without the conditions that have been placed on me. But instead, look, God, you made me. Look, you gave me these curves. You allowed me
Come
to be
on.
in this beautiful brown skin.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
yes.
you talk to me. And guess what? He deals with me in dreams and visions. So I
Come on
started
now.
believing the dreams. I started to believe the vision. And so that's why it's coming out, because I realized greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world.
Of this
So if I
world,
know
yeah.
that he lives in me, breathes in me, moves in me, come on and talk to me. Show me how to speak. Show me how to eat. Because a lot of the times I don't write stuff down, but he gives me the words and they just come out because he's speaking through me. So that's what I'm saying. Like, now it's a difference because I got the relationship and he's showing me, Terese, this is who you are. This is who I called you to be. So now you believe what I'm showing you because it's something better and greater for you on the end because you're trusting in me. So that's the difference. You get a
Yes.
relationship or get an understanding with him and you start dropping those labels because he'll do it for you. You can't do it
Yes.
by yourself. So that's the difference.
Yes, yes. And I think that's so amazing because, of course, being the same age group, same foundation, it's really kind of the same story of us becoming our authentic selves. And as a teacher and a mother, I often tell my students, male and female, if you're not showing up as you, who's going to do the work that God has created you to do? You know what I mean? And so
Oh yeah.
now, as a woman pushing towards my 50s, I really understand the authenticity and the purpose of every single individual, right? So if
Yeah.
I'm mimicking you and I'm trying to look like you and act like you and talk like you and walk like you, who's going to do my work?
Exactly.
Who's going to do what God has called me to do? You know,
Mm-mm.
and it's only in that authentic space, I feel like when it's lined up, that's when God's able to move directly through us and give us those authentic experiences, right? So sis,
Yeah.
talk to me about some of your advocacy work. What are some of the things that you've done in your community that you're proud of?
Okay, so I started this organization called Pontiac Community Alliance. And so what I did was I brought many different community members together to put on community empowerment events for our community because I seen the need in our community. Our community is so divided. But once I said, you know what? This call is bigger than me. And I had to call on different leaders. I called on people from the state, the local, and the county to join in our efforts because I knew the importance of bringing us together because our community is like here, the community members over here, then you have the organizations over here. So I never knew anything about like policies, like politics or anything like that. I never knew the importance of it. So we sometimes look to the government to do certain things, but we have to do the groundwork. So I would just like talk to the people in the community because I join forces with other organizations. So I learned how to do the social justice, the leadership, and then also bringing it back to the community. So we did the door knocking, just telling people about their right to vote, to getting to know their legislation, to also just knowing their rights. Because I feel like sometimes we look to others and don't really do the work to say, what do my voice mean? What can I do in my community? So that's one of the biggest things that I have done. So I went to the school so I can get my leadership development so that way I can help advocate, so I can show people how to do their boot camp advocacy. So just making sure that people in my community were more educated on what was taking place and how to get out and vote and what the census mean and all of those great things, because so many times they did not know. And so I wasn't one of the ones that's just sitting there being the problem, but I was a part of the solution and helping to educate people to become use their voice as well and use their power too.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. So I've got one last question for you. You talk about you talk about a divided community. And of course, we all understand that we are in the most treacherous times right now. But at the same time, as believers in God, I see a balance. You know what I mean? I see God breaking down some strongholds. I see God moving some mountains, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
providing for us opportunities that we may not ever have again. So Terese, what would you say to the young women of Black women worldwide? What is a message that you would want to give to these young sisters from your heart as motivation and inspiration for them to take advantage of this opportunity in these times?
Spend time with yourself so you can really tap into the greatness that's inside of you, because we all have an assignment. Finding out what your purpose is the most important thing that you should do in life today, because you see how it's so chaotic in this world. If everybody would just do their part and find out who they are so they won't have to be anybody else, then this world would be a better place. And you would never feel like you do not matter. Things may have happened to you in your life, but don't let that stop you from really identifying who you are, who God called you to be, and who created you to be. Because the thing that I notice and that I know and that I have experienced, that everything we go through in life, even if it's a failure, it's not for you to just give up, but instead it's for you to learn the lesson that was taught and for you to walk in your purpose and continue to defy every obstacle, every odd, anything that comes up against you. You just got to know, and just know for certain that your life is beautiful. Your life is priceless, and you are worth the fight. And everything that you need, God has given you the tools. You just have to allow somebody help you cultivate them. So whether that's a minister, whether that's a teacher, whether that's your parents, whether that's somebody that you look up to, just please find out who you are, walk in your purpose, and know that your life is valuable and you are worth the fight.
Yes, sis. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Yes,
welcome.
yes, 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 yes. Well,
Mhm.
I am excited and I'm so grateful for your candor. Thank you for, sharing with us so openly. And, that's why this series is so important to me, because so many of us walk into situations and then we walk away never getting the opportunity to really kind of tell our story or to begin to speak those words of knowledge and affirmation that, kind of helps us to begin that healing process. So I'm so grateful for you being here this Saturday and for telling your story. If you are not a member, please become a member. Please share this information with other sisters. We are trying to build a platform where sisters can get to each other. I'm excited to meet you today. I know that there's going to be work that you and I are going to be able to do together. I am a school leader in Highland Park, Michigan. And, it's sisters like you that I would love to bring to the community so that we can just kind of talk to sisters and young people, and just kind of let them know that they are valuable and that we're not going to be able to change, this country or this world without their input. So I want to thank you
Amen.
so much. Stay with me. We're going to talk a little bit about the organization. So today, I want to share with you our mission. Our mission with Blvck Womxn Worldwide, Inc. is a charitable nonprofit startup establishment for education, advancement, mentorship, wellness, and financial success of Black women in every walk of life. We recognize COVID-19 as the largest disruptor to the status quo in our lifetime. During the 2020 global pandemic, a team of brilliant Black women analyzed the existing realities of millions of Black women across the globe. Our pain and our frustrations are not isolated. Using a global lens, we seek to develop the technology necessary to make protecting, supporting all Black women in our ventures sustainable. And how do we plan to do that? Our approach is to use technology and teamwork to create the one global database of its kind. We want to connect Black women and their children with solutions empowered by Black women using mobile devices. We want to break barriers for Black women, and we want to share their brands and their businesses through education and capacity. We want to build communities and connections. We want to build bridges that repurpose the $1 trillion annual Black spend for the personal and professional development of Black women worldwide. How are we going to do that? How will we make an impact? We have to get involved. We have to seek connections. And like we did with Sister Terese today, we have to tell our story. And this is what we want to do at Blvck Womxn Worldwide. We want to give sisters the opportunity to shine. We want to connect us through our resources, and we want to have this space and spaces like this where we can tell our story. So, Sister Terese, I want to thank you for being with us today. It has been a pleasure to speak with you. I feel
Thank you.
like I already know you. I
Thank
want to still encourage you and tell you to keep doing what you are doing. And honey, 40 is a fantastic space for Black women. Because like you
you.
said, what you realize is you don't have to have a filter, because what's inside of you needs to come out of you authentically.
Ooh, thank you so very much for this opportunity. I'm so glad we connected, and thank you for allowing
Yes.
me to tell my story.
Yes, fantastic. And you know what? We are working to provide many more opportunities. So we are definitely going to be in touch. And as you do your work, please reach out and continue to communicate with us, and we'll do the same for you. So I want to thank you for joining us today, Terese. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I want you to have a fantastic Saturday and Sunday, and take some time to, do a little bit of something for yourself. That's what we always forget to do.
All right, I sure will. And thank you so very much again.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you, and have a happy Saturday.
You too. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.